Wilson.
Good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's the Power Trips power forward, 6'8" from the University of Minnesota by way of the Matamidi Zephyrs. Ladies and gentlemen, 9 to noon presents Parker Fox into the Love Covenant.
Let's go. This is a spot to be.
Man, it was nice to meet you, and I guess the area outside here would be called the vestibule after you were on the Power Trip recently. But it's great having you in studio, and it's great that just the collaboration of how this whole idea got put together with the Timberwolves doing what the Timberwolves are doing right now. And thank you very much for coming in to analyze some basketball for us. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. This is pretty surreal. I think I was telling Chad too. Every kid growing up that had to drive in their car with their dad knows PA, knows the voice. So this is pretty surreal here being on with you.
Wow. Liner number 6 over the last week. That's very kind of you. So let's get to know you for a second, if you don't mind. Northern State in South Dakota. South Dakota, right?
Yes, yeah.
Where you were NSIC North Division Defensive Player of the Year, and you also earned a bachelor's degree. Have you ever met Tim Miles?
I have.
Right.
Yeah, I have met Tim Miles.
Well, he's Northern State immortality.
He is, and he comes back and he spends his time at the bars like he is Northern State immortality. So
really, I can't. Where's he coaching now? San Jose State.
He was at
maybe?
San Jose State last I heard. Yeah.
Right, and we stayed in touch. Well, we met at when he was at NDSU and made the NCAA tournament. Might even have played in Minneapolis and pushed Kansas far and then lost. Mm-hmm. And then he went to Nebraska, and then we kind of lost touch for the last year. But Tim is salt of the earth, a Dolan, South Dakota native, and he's also in the Northern State Hall of Fame. So Tim Miles is HOF. Now, your final season playing basketball for the University of Minnesota is on the horizon. Why didn't you do what all the popular kids are doing and enter the transfer portal?
That's the golden ticket question, right?
Is it?
It is, and I think it's just common now. College basketball has changed. It's a different game now. Everybody's a free agent every year. There's more money than you can even think out there.
Really?
Oh my goodness, yeah. There's a kid that's supposedly going to get $2 million going to Alabama next year as a 21-year-old kid. And
basketball, right?
Basketball.
Wow.
Yes, basketball as college, 20-year-old kids. But for me, Minnesota's home. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I think the moment I stepped foot on campus, with the torn ACL, I knew that this is somewhere I need to be, and this is somewhere I need to build up.
Yeah.
And I think, as you know, and people know, Gopher basketball has a rich, storied, tradition. They've done some really special things in the past, and me and a guy like Dawson Garcia are two guys that want to bring it back to that level. So.
Okay, now, so as the NCAA rules go, with name, image, likeness, and transfer portal, and everything, it's so if I gave you $500 right now, and I said, thank you very much for helping with the radio show, I'd like to give you this $500. Yeah. Is that a violation?
No.
Wow.
No. It's a free for all now, man. It's insane.
Crazy. It's
insane. And they tried to get it they tried to get it, these regulations and all this kind of stuff, but it's nothing now. It's there's so much pain on it. And all this was so illegal. This was such a no-no 3-4 years ago, and now it's everything goes.
Right.
And it's hard to almost understand and stay on top of, because now kids are getting greedy and they want more, and now they're making more money than some of these rookie NBA contracts. It's I don't know. It's going to be hard to regulate, and it's going to be hard to see where it goes. But I am happy kids are getting paid. I think
no doubt
they deserve it.
Right,
so.
and the ability to. I mean, it has a lot of not to it.
Yeah.
Okay. But these are also formative, incredibly important times. of basketball players or young adults' lives. And if they believe there's another place where they can succeed and spread the proverbial wings and scoop some NIL and maybe get a better shot, it's tough for me to be mad at them. Now, on the other side of it, there are teams that are left in the lurch. Whether it's a Hawkins or Payne here. Now Cam Christie, he's still on the team, right?
He is technically in the transfer portal
as a do not disturb.
As a do not disturb. It's basically just kind of protecting your.
Well, then why be in there if it's a do not contact me?
If he gets injured or something happens, just because there's a deadline that you need to be in there by. So he entered at the last minute just to be in there, just in case something happens. Obviously, he's actually out in New York right now prepping for the draft. Right. So we're obviously wishing him the best.
That was an option too, right?
Yes, for sure.
And I know he's not related to Doug Christie. His brother's in the NBA,
his brother's with the Lakers, yes. Right. Max Christie's with the Lakers, yeah. Okay. So he's and Max Christie went after 1 year too. So Cam's kind of in that same boat. Actually, look at Cam's numbers a little bit better than his
he's a good player.
Yeah, very good player.
Yeah, when I watched you guys last year, there were a few things that jumped out. Like when Hawkins caught fire, hide the women and children. And when you pissed him off on defense,
my goodness.
Hide the on-ball defense when he got pissed off, specifically in that Ohio State game with that nice guard who's kind of fire hydrant-esque, but he was tough to keep out of the key, man. I was like, hey, look at Elijah right there. But so with Cam Christie, or anybody else, I mean, quite the nice player, but name tags honestly are required these days when you reconvene. So what do you think of all this? You have a year left. I mean, obviously you ain't tripping on it.
Yeah.
But if you are moving into sports management with your University of Minnesota Masters and or whatever's coming up next with Carlson or in radio or TV, at your age and with the work you're putting in, I mean, the future undoubtedly looks very bright in my estimation. So, you kind of have to think about these things a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, certainly. And I think, it's like I said, it's ever changing. Even as a guy who's, considers himself a leader and a captain of the team, you only bring back 4 or 5 guys. And it's like you're filling up 10 new dudes. That's 10 new personalities.
Wow.
That's 10 new locker room guys. That's 10 new. I mean, you spend your life with these guys, right? You're with them on the road. We all live in the same apartment building. We all eat at the same cafeteria. We're together freaking more than a married couple is,
right.
So it's
a lot of teams are like that.
Yeah, and it's great, right? But now it's like every year is changing, and every year is different personalities, and you don't know who you're going to bring in. So I will give a big credit to Coach Johnson. He recruits character at a pretty high level, and I think that's something that's important to us. And we want to have good guys. Like I said, you spend so much time with them that you want to have guys that you enjoy, and you want to create a culture. And I think that's tough, but if you get the right guys in, it makes it easier.
Parker, do you think with NIL, football or basketball, that you have to be in a certain market to scoop big? Like Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback now with the Bears. I mean, we started hearing a year and change ago. He's up to $3.1 million and still another year to play. So that thing probably got up to 5 or 6. It's exponential. It also gives the players to be drafted a little more power in feeling they can dictate how or where they're going to be drafted. And that's a separate conversation. So that's starting to change too. But do you have to be in a big city with a big school? Because I'm thinking like UConn. All right. I mean, that's the one of the fastest teams I've seen in recent history. They're going to be good for years. But I'm thinking like UConn and the big scoop with the NIL. Like, does it happen with schools like that?
I think it does, and I think, like you said, it's just like professional sports. The bigger the market, the bigger attraction that it is going to be for athletes. Is LeBron going to go to a Memphis or something like that? No, he's going to be in LA. He's going to be in Hollywood. And it's the same deal for these high these high NIL guys, and that's the top 0.01%, right? We're talking about the star quarterback that's going to be on the cover of the the game, the NCAA football game or whatever. Yep. So it's the top 1%. But I think you're right, and I think it's and I think it can get dangerous, like you said, about, hey, he's got all this money now, and this team is wanting to draft him. Why go here when they were 1 in 16 when you can go somewhere that has an established running back and a receiver core, and they allow him to kind of go in there and flourish. That's kind of now you're giving him the power, which is a little dangerous, but I think like you said, it's exciting for athletes to kind of start to get this power and to have that on their back, because if you talk about anybody in any profession, would you leave your job for 5 times the amount in a better city? Probably,
maybe. Well, yeah, but it's different because it's different because it's still, in my estimation, with the portal and NIL.
Yeah.
In basketball and football, the tail is wagging the dog.
You're right.
And I have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. But I also would recognize that in time, there are things that are going to be worked out. Yeah. And when I say tail wagging the dog, man, it's like if you're going to have players making 3 and 4 times more than their position coaches.
Yeah.
So the position coach approaches them and tries to say something, dog. I mean, I can buy and sell you in 3 minutes. I mean, that's how arrogant 2024 would react at times.
You're right.
Well, but then from a coaching standpoint, this would be more football. I've chatted it out pretty deeply with PJ Fleck on the radio.
Yeah.
Coaches, in essence, are recruiting during the season with their own players. Mm-hmm. So I got Parker Fox here, and already second year out of Matamidi, there was no Northern State. And he's good, and I'd like to make more room for him. But you know what, man? In fact, Parker's beaten my man over there, Guy A, every play in practice. And he would help us. But Guy A over there, he's thinking about leaving, and we need him. Yep. So I got to play him. Yep. Well, see, that screws the whole thing up, man. That's the tail wagging the dog part where I can't wrap my mind around it.
It's a different style of coaching, right? You can't... You have to find that fine line between getting on somebody and, cussing them out and being a coach and that tough, attitude versus, hey, we want to keep you around for a couple of years here. I want you to like me. I want you to, come back here next year, because there's no contract. It's just free agency every year. It's 4 years you get 4 years of free agency.
Right.
So why would you, it almost seems dumb not to test it every year.
Well, see, that's part that I just have to believe moving forward. There's going to be something
There's got to be.
University of Minnesota. All right. I found Parker Fox, Matamidi. All right. He chose he wanted to stay home. He's the bomb. He's McDonald's All-America. Mm-hmm. He's top 10 in the country. Okay, blows up. Now, all of a sudden, in sneaky fashion, somebody from Chapel Hill is offered you $3 million more than you're getting here. Well, that puts my program in a tough spot because I'm a middling program in the cornfields. Yep. And granted, Chapel Hill ain't big, but it's University of North Carolina. Yeah. So now all of a sudden, my player, Parker Fox, he has a distraction. And distractions are the ultimate equalizer in sports. So again, more tail wagging dog.
You're right. And now, all these guys are represented by agents, and agents are, they're picking in private and saying, how much can I get here? How much can I get here? And,
no doubt.
And the coaches got to hate that, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it en masse.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have 20 of them at a 3% or whatever it is. And if I get Parker a deal for $1 million, cool, I got what I got. But if I get 20 of them $1 million, well, now all of a sudden I'm running a business. You know what I'm saying?
And these NIL agents are taking 10, 15, 20%.
Oh, geez.
And it's a whole different beast with some of these NIL agents. So that's a good business to get in there, I guess.
Your resume is quite impressive to this stage. You not only play for the University of Minnesota and the Golden Gophers, you're on the when I looked at your game logs and stats and everything, you're a little bit on the Evan Eschmeyer plan. I don't know if you remember Evan from Northwestern. It felt like before transfer portal and NIL, he was there 8 years. So, I mean, it's here. How many years have you played basketball? When's the last time you played at Matamidi?
I played Matamidi in 2017.
2017, yes. It's 2024. You're heading your fight. It's beautiful, man. It's fantastic,
Man. Congrats on the medical degree.
Right. Or becoming a barrister or whatever.
Yeah,
but
knows?
Seriously, a bachelor's from Northern State, Tim Miles go crazy, and a master's from the University of Minnesota in sports management. What do you hope to do for a career?
Yeah, I think basketball is such, a huge part of my life. And it's been, I think, ever since I can remember, I had a basketball in my hands, a mini Tykes hoop, all that kind of stuff. So I want to keep playing. I want to have a professional career in some sort. Obviously, both knee injuries, ACLs. I know my time's short. I know I don't have much left in me, but I definitely want to pursue it.
Yeah.
And then when that's up, this is kind of, this has been my life here with the, Minnesota sports and, talking about Minnesota sports and hopping on with you and the Power Trip guys. And this is something that's really, really been interesting to me. And, whether that's, like you said, live or on here on the radio, it's something that I just feel comfortable with. And it's something that I really enjoy. And meeting people like you and all these people around here has been surreal for me. And it gets me out of bed and it excites me, man. So it's getting invited to do something like this is something that, I can't pass on because it's something that's super interesting to me. So we'll see where it takes me. We'll see where the career takes me. But this is something that I truly love. And it's been fun for me.
Well, you love it. You play confidently and you play fast.
Yep.
Loved you on the Power Trip. Loving you here right now.
Appreciate it.
We have the sports management masters, and we also are working on some form of business degree from Carlson, correct?
Yes.
Which is perfect because then you can come in here and fix the AQH for all of us.
I always love that one.
Or at least explain it.
Yeah, this all right, 3-2. This is Parker Fox with the Golden Gophers basketball team, and he's a power forward for the Power Trip by day and a Love Covenant dweller, I guess, by afternoon. Where with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the defense they're playing, man, hey, it's you growing up playing basketball, and I've referenced this a couple of times over the last few weeks. There are edicts that you learn at a very young age. I played in Southern California, but not as long as you. Is don't pick up your dribble on the baseline, right? No bounce passes in the key, right?
Yep.
And ball man you.
Yep.
Okay. Now the ball man you part, I mean, I saw in game 2, okay, and you playing or recognizing how the significance of that. But you ain't going to do it at the U. If you're playing Ohio State, you're not going to tap yourself and then point ball and then point man.
Yep.
Okay, just as remedial as we were taught that, right?
Yeah, no,
you know exactly what I mean, right?
Pistols, there you go.
There it is. I saw Nikhil Alexander Walker, free throw line extended, get back before the Nuggets on offense, and he tapped himself, pointed at Reggie Jackson, and then pointed over to his right. And I'm like, wow, Finch has these guys so dialed in with defense and defensive coordinator Elston Turner and Mike Norrie and everybody else that they're throwing it back 20 years to when they were taught ball man you.
Yeah.
And then I bring it up to Mike Norrie on the radio yesterday, and he talks for 3 minutes about the significance of the fundamentals that first were taught, leading to maybe the greatest defensive performance in the history of Minnesota Timberwolves basketball.
And you hit it on the head. I think it starts with those fundamentals. I think, you add a guy like Rudy Gobert, who's going to be a Hall of Famer because of his defensive career. And now he just picks up his 4th DPOY. I think he sets the tone with that defense. Obviously, Coach Norrie, Coach Finch, I think they do great work. And I think they got those guys all on one page. But like you said, you bring guys off the bench like Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and I thought Naz Reid was freaking awesome in that game. I've never seen anybody deflect Jokic passes like Naz did.
Yeah.
And every pass he made, it was Naz had a hand. And this is a guy that's coming off the bench. He could be a starter in a lot of situations. You could have that kind of poor me, I could be somewhere else starting, but everybody's bought in, man, and it's really special to watch. I think like you said, those fundamentals start everything. And it flows with that, and I think they're all bought into that, and it's pretty cool.
An underrated approach they've taken with Jokic this year has been limiting his assists.
Yep.
I mean, in game 1, he gets to 6 in a hot tick, and then he gets stuck right around 7 or 8. Then he gets 9 at the end. Last game, he was on 8. I mean, this is the best passing big man in the history of the NBA.
Without a doubt.
So therefore, you get team C12s and 14s and 15s. But this was eye-opening to me early in the season, Parker, where they played Denver. And at the end of the equation, Jokic had a 2-assist game. Mm-hmm. So I have Finch on weekly and talked about it. And I could tell, getting to know Chris the way I have, there was a little something he didn't want to share. So cool. So now I'm going to watch the next game. Joker had 0 assists. Who puts Joker on a 0-assist game? Are you kidding me?
Nobody.
So then I pressed Chris again, and he was just talking about exactly what you said. It wasn't Naz Reid, but Naz is part of it. Mm-hmm. The importance of the anticipation of what he sets up when he passes, and just getting a hand on it. And they're so handsy with that stuff, Naz Reid too. And how about this, man? Because you know that when you're shooting threes or when you're shooting your jump shot, you want to get the ball and get your feet set and have a nice little rhythm with it. Well, in the playoffs, you got to speed everything up.
Everything.
So, like, I'm watching Conley and Reed, okay, and like they're getting in, and just fast. They're firing it up before somebody gets there, and they're going in. Yeah. The adaptation, even for the highest level of the highest level of what transpires in the NBA playoffs, but specifically with these Wolves, it is so eye-opening and impressive, man.
Yeah, and I think, like you said about that defense, obviously the deflections have been great, but also the defensive rotations. I think when you see Jokic kind of get into that mid-post-up game with the defender on his back, the guy that's entering the ball, that defender, that ex-defender, he's going down there to double. And then that guy's cutting over the top to the middle of the lane. But then you got another 7-footer, Karl-Anthony Towns, waiting in the middle of the lane for that pass. So what they're giving up is that skip pass. And they ended up hitting a couple in that corner. I think Justin Holiday had a couple. But there was even a quick one where he was off the side of the backboard because the shot clock was going off. So it's like that extra effort. And, we call it X and out on our team. And it's the guy playing two. So you're playing two, and whoever you pass it to, you got to go to that guy. And the next guy's got to X out to your guy. So it's less worrying about who I'm guarding and what I'm doing versus about what this team is doing defensively. And like you said, the extra efforts have been so impressive. And then that leads to your offense. I think any great team that wants to score the ball on offense is headed by their defense. And I think you look at a guy like Naz, I don't think he plays as good in an offensive game if he doesn't get in those tips and those steals and those deflections. And I felt like everything Naz was throwing up there was going in.
I didn't know Tom Thibodeau's nephew was going to roll in the studio, 651 Carpets Plus Studios, and break down defensive scheme.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
It's Parker Fox. What's your Twitter handle?
Parker Fox 24.
Parker Fox 24. Anything on the TikTok or the Instagram or anything?
I'm on all of it. You can find me, Parker Fox, all over the place.
Let's pause because there's much more into which we are going to dive with Parker Fox. He is the Power Trips power forward, 6'8" from the University of Minnesota by way of the Matamidi Zephyrs. And you're listening to it on KFAN, your cash-giving leader.
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Use the keyword BILLS at KFAN.com. You might win $1,000. KFAN.com, the keyword is BILLS.
Basketball team into his final year. He plays for Ben Johnson. He's in studio. He's the Power Trips power forward, but sauntered by with a killer crossover, at least verbally and metaphorically speaking, to join 9 to noon to discuss the Wolves and some things in the world of basketball, including this question. How do you think Purdue's Zach Edey is going to fare in the NBA?
Man, I think that's a great question.
He's big, he's skilled, but he clumps.
He's huge, man. I think the first game I saw him live, and I was hurt, but I just walked up next to him just to kind of compare what I was next to him. And he was probably like, who's this kid? Like, he probably didn't know who I was, and obviously I'm in street clothes. And I think his calves went up to my mid-thigh. And I was like, this guy's a monster.
Yeah.
But I mean, you hope for the best. And I think as a Big Ten guy, you root for the Big Ten guys and you want to see them succeed. I think the NBA is a really fast game. I think everybody needs to be able to shoot. So it's going to be tough. But you look at his size and you look at what he's done for the college game. I think it's pretty special. So I root for him and I wish him the best.
Parker, will you watch Caitlin Clark when her Indiana Fever are on TV and assess what you believe in your heart about this vibe and staying power to aid the WNBA? And I'm just wondering how much truly it'll help heighten exposure over the long haul, because I adore the girl. I mean, how she handled prosperity last year and how she plays. I mean, it's like when I heard about her first preseason game within the last week, I immediately went to the TV to see if I can find it. And I couldn't find it. It wasn't on. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was on.
No, it wasn't.
Right. So, boom, quick twitch right there. I developed that as a quick twitch habit because of her.
Yeah, no, I think she's so special. I think she's obviously special for the women's game, but I think she's special for basketball in general. I was actually having an argument with somebody the other day. When I see the color yellow now, it's kind of changed what I look at the color yellow because of Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Yeah, and
so are you elevating yellow?
I think I'm elevating yellow, gold. It's gone up, no doubt. And I don't know. I think
that makes you a big Green Bay Packers fan.
No. You can't do
we're
that.
Purple and gold.
You can't do. Yeah, we're purple, man. Green's bad. Green's ugly.
Okay.
But anyways, no. I think she's. You put any pressure, that much pressure on a 21, 22-year-old person. So many of them are going to fold. So many are going to crack. And the way that she's composed herself and done it with class and done it with just the utmost talent I've ever even seen is special. And, dating a woman in sports too, you want to appreciate that. And you want to appreciate everything they do because they do it just as good as we do it. So, it's fun. And, I'm looking forward to this upcoming WNBA year. Hopefully I can get a ticket at Target Center to go watch, but I'm sure it's already sold out.
Yeah, for that game it is. Yeah. And they're like moving games to different arenas because, hey, we can only hold 8,000. Yeah. Oh, wait, we sold out 18,000 in 5 minutes.
Crazy.
That's palpable. And but staying power and sustaining is going to be the key.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, the Wolves-Nuggets series, you dissect angles to this domination. I mean, you discussed defense, and that's the A topic. But there's more. I mean, they're killing the world champions, Parker.
Yeah, they are. And I think, when me and Max were talking earlier last week, I was saying hopefully we can steal one in Denver. Anytime you play the former champs, it's and you're on the road, it's a goal to steal one in Denver.
Agreed.
And what we've been able to do going in there and just showing our utter dominance has been, I don't know. It kept me up at night. I watched the game and I couldn't sleep because I'm so excited and I'm so energetic for this team. And I think they've just bought in as a unit, and you can see it. You watch Denver kind of implode in that game too. Whether it was Murray throwing the hot pack, or whether it was Murray with his palms up arguing with the refs, Aaron Gordon doing the same thing.
Mike Malone apoplectic out on the court.
Like that's losing. That's a losing recipe.
Yeah,
and I think you want to give energy, and the game is very emotional. I play with a lot of emotion as well. I think everybody that loves it as much as I do, you play with a lot of emotion, but that's losing emotion. And that's when you have a team. And that's why I'm so excited about this Wolves team, because there's no crazy celebration. It's, we have, like Ant says, we haven't been here, so we don't know. And they just want more, and they want more. And I think this Denver team is on the ropes, just watching their body language.
No doubt. And Mike Malone it's interesting you say that, because after each game, he's like, I don't like my team's body language. Yeah. That's massive when a coach says that. And it goes back to like when you were saying, whether it's Dawson Garcia or Elijah Hawkins, whomever is in the covenant, is you're with each other so much that it becomes family. Yeah. So therefore, when you get surrogate dad talking about all of his kids and I hate their body language, I mean, that because it's he can just tell that things are going wrong for each one of them in different ways. And it's really difficult to fix 9 different things in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But I've never, and I've watched NBA, for 45 years, back to when I lived in Washington, D.C., and the Bullets were winning an NBA championship against the Seattle Supersonics. I can't remember the last time in an NBA game I saw at least 4 shot clock violations. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, shot clock violations, like 4 times. That is mystifying. If you're an offense, that it's almost mysticism what the defense is doing to force you into that.
And especially a team like Denver, who's never had that offensive problem, right? They've been a well-oiled machine for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah. No one's been able to do what we did defensively to them in years. And I think, everybody talks about the old NBA and the hand checks and the physical defense and all that's great. But I think what the Wolves did was a complete defensive clinic. And I think you look at a guy like Jamal Murray, who's supposed to be this, superstar, can shoot it from anywhere, can get his shot up at any point. We had him so flustered. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had him so flustered that he didn't even want to be in the game. He didn't want to be in the. He wanted no part of the game.
Yeah,
and I think that
he wanted that heating pad on his calf.
No doubt. And
he has a bad calf, and I have a lot of respect for Jamal and the injuries through which he battled early in his career.
Yes.
I like Jamal a lot,
So do I.
heating pad or not. He ain't Devin Booker, okay? Devin Booker started bugging me a little bit at the end of the Sun series. Yeah. Even though into the Sun series, the first thing I said about the series was, do know, Wolves fans, Devin Booker is our friend. For a year and a half ago, he said on the court, picked up by the mics, y'all don't share the ball. Y'all ain't a team. Mm-hmm. We're a team. He did you a favor right there by letting you know that, so go show him that you are, and they did.
Yeah.
Murray's more quiet. He's just different, and he's more clutch than Devin in certain situations, but man, they're attacking that calf. They're making him move vertically, horizontally, laterally. I mean, they are really attacking that calf, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think it's just the way the Wolves play offensively. Obviously, they share it so well, but you've seen kind of that letting Ant go a little bit in the first, letting Ant kind of get to his spots. And obviously, last game he didn't start off with the greatest start, but turn it up there in the second quarter. And then the second half comes around, and now it's Karl Anthony Towns' time, and now it's time to dominate. And that clip of Aaron Gordon, quote unquote, getting in Karl's head and shoving him, and he had a turnover. Karl is. I've watched the Wolves for years now. I don't think Karl does that 3 years ago. Right. I don't think Karl keeps that even keel.
No, he doesn't do it 3 months ago.
Yeah, and now it's like every time he touches the ball, I'm confident that if it's an open three, it's going in, or if it's that little kiss off the glass, it's going in as well. And he's just kept his head and kept his composure. I don't know. I don't know if it's Finch. I don't know if it's, you hear these mic'd up of Anthony Edwards talking to him as well. So I don't know if it's that, or I don't know if he's just more bought in than he's ever been before. But
for Anthony Edwards in a press conference to say, blah, 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 you always effing foul. Mm-hmm. Okay, for him to do that, and then Karl puts his head down and laughs a little, but you can tell, as kids would say, it's a thing. Yeah. And it's bugging Ant. And it's like, you're so important, man. Let's not have 4 fouls middle of the third quarter here. So you got to sit for like 3 quarters or a full quarter. Mm-hmm. But with Karl, man, it just, whether it was the 5 weeks he was down, Parker, he's not, the elbows aren't all over the place on the dribble drive. Yeah. He's not flailing the way he used to. It's the methodology to the calm that goes into his game close to the basket. I mean, it's almost been a complete flip from chaos to calm.
It has. We got to research. What if he's been doing yoga or meditating or something? But it's been, and like I said, I've gone to every Wolves game I could go to since I've moved back here to Minneapolis, and to see what he's done for this team. And he spoke it into existence too. He has those old tweets about how he promises he's going to bring the Timberwolves to a place they've never been, and to see him kind of, this is almost like he's proven himself. He's coming back on his word. And I think too, like you said about that press conference, how old's Ant? 22?
Yeah.
What 22-year-old dude is leading a group of grown men?
Let's go.
And being their almost quote unquote captain, along with Mike Conley, obviously. Yeah. But they're all so bought in together. Right. And they listen to him. Right. There's not many 22-year-olds in the world that when you're older then and you have the same profession that you're going to listen to. It doesn't happen, right?
Right. And think about this. I mean, whenever the NBA All-Star game was. All right. Yeah. So let's say 3 months ago. Yeah. All right. Well, there was an interview with Karl Anthony Towns into the All-Star game where he said something that A, at that time did not surprise me, but B, I was like, you're out of your mind, man. Where he's like, he's being asked about playing with Edwards. Mm-hmm. And his response was, well, there's always room for 2 legends. Yeah. And first thing was like, bro, you can't call yourself a legend. Okay. You just can't. It just has to be given to you or whatever. And secondly, are you kidding me with what I just heard? Well, he's so antithetical to that now, where he's yielding when he talks publicly and maybe privately, I wouldn't know, to the significance of Anthony. He's the alpha. Doesn't mean we're all betas, but he's the alpha here, and we're going to follow this thing, man. It's the Kirby Puckett, jump on my back, I'm going to carry you. Yeah. It's so that in 3 months, whether it's lack of flailing on the offensive moves, lack of complaining, ow, and then being on the ground, he falls more than any big man I've ever seen.
Legs are always up in the air,
right? Or now recognizing his team. It's there. within the last year, if you were sitting in here, I'd be like, well, he's a 3, maybe a 4 on an NBA championship type team for a lot of reasons. He's a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the 1-8 Edwards, and he's earned that.
And he has. And the beautiful thing about the way he's approached it is, I think it was last series, there was a 8-minute stretch in the fourth where he wasn't on the court. He was on the bench.
Yep.
And any other 2 in the NBA would either A, try to sub themselves in, or B, pout on the bench.
Have you ever done that?
Maybe a couple times back in the day. I don't know. You feel like your team's struggling. You might want to just go to the coach. Hey, put me in here, man.
Player coach.
Yeah, no
double the pay.
No doubt. A little
and
LeBron,
the AQH.
A little LeBron style. But no, and I think he's been the first one off the bench, cheering, congratulating, talking on defense. That whole Wolves, I don't think they sit down, that Wolves bench.
Right.
I don't think they ever sit down. You look at Denver's bench, they're all seated. Phoenix bench was all, they had guys in the second row of the Phoenix bench. That talk about defeat. You already lost, you know? And this Wolves team is, I think, like we've mentioned earlier, they're so collected and they're so together as a unit that it stems from 1 to 15. I think that's so cliche too when you talk about like, oh yeah, we're only as good as our 15th guy, but it's true.
Right.
If the 15th guy isn't as bought in as the first guy, you're not going to win a championship. And I think even when Carl's been on the bench, he's been such a great addition.
My man, speaking of great additions, that would be you to the Love Covenant. That was fantastic. I'd like to have you come around next week if you have time, because the Wolves still will be playing.
They will. Maybe
preparing for Lou Dort and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in OKC. Parker, thank you very much for stopping by and have a good day.
Thank you, PA.
That's Parker Fox of your Golden Gophers basketball team, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's News du Nord, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. CanterburyPark.com for details. You're feeling the felt. Poker, blackjack, table games all year round, but live racing less than a couple of weeks away. So check out the schedule at CanterburyPark.com. Twins lost 10-6 last night. Didn't look too deeply in it, to be honest, but it does appear that they were stuck in the bullpen. I mean, they were up 4-2. Jay Jackson gets worked for a few, so now Seattle's in the lead. Twins tie it up in the 6th, in the 8th inning, but then Alcala is tagged for 4. That's the dagger. Paddock today, hard to figure him out. He gives up 9 one start, then goes 6 scoreless. Then he allows 4. Then he goes 6 scoreless again. Hopefully this isn't a blow-up game tonight. It's a 6:40 pitch for the Twins. When Parker Fox was in studio, awesome 9 to noon edition, by the way, over the last couple of segments, podcastable, free iHeartRadio app. You guys were talking about Rudy Gobert, defensive identity, and maybe the leader of that identity with the team. He was named Defensive Player of the Year. That's 4 of those awards for Mr. Gobert. 3 with the Jazz, his first with the Wolves. Ben Wallace and Dikembe Mutombo also have 4. Both of them, by the way, are in the Hall of Fame. Is Rudy on a Hall of Fame Trek PA with his defensive prowess?
Well, Parker Fox said, when he's in the NBA, and, Parker's an elite basketball mind. I hadn't really thought of it. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner, so that obviously doesn't hurt. Is Ben Wallace in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, both Ben Wallace and Dikembe Mutombo are in the Hall of Fame.
Well, then Gobert is a dead cinch because Ben Wallace couldn't score if he stopped by the Mustang Ranch on a drive from Nevada to Utah. So, but he would block it and he would steal it, and he was an elite rebounder. So I guess, I certainly don't follow the NBA Hall of Fame as closely as some others. So I don't really know what it takes to get in there. But Rudy, Hall of Fame, why not?
Jamal Murray not suspended for throwing both a towel and then a heat pad on the court during Game 2 on Monday night. He was fined $100,000. A lot of people frustrated that there was no suspension for Jamal. I do have to admit, I'd rather see Jalen Pickett or Christian Brown or a hobbled Reggie Jackson getting more minutes than Jamal Murray in Game 3. But in the same sense, I'm actually also not mad. I get it would be better for the Wolves if Jamal Murray is, even with the calf issues, is not playing. I'm not up in arms that he wasn't suspended for throwing the heat pad.
Right. And what I said yesterday when it came up, that no. Let's hope he plays because we see what's happening here.
Right.
Well, that not only was jokingly overly flippant, but I don't care if he's suspended or not. I don't care about his fine. And I'm happy players didn't get hurt with a heating pad, some unique apparatus being thrown on the playing field, on the playing court, the wood that is hard. I'd be foolish specifically with a game that was Monday into the next one Friday, kind of like they had into game one of the series, where to think Jamal Murray, can't help because the calf is bound to get better, the fan has learned. And, of course, it's better to face the Nuggets without Murray than with. But none of this is really mattering to me, and I'm finding it to become quite trite until I'm shown somebody can keep up with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I ain't trying to go 27 Yankees, 85 Bears on it. No, I'm just sharing what I and we are watching. There's nobody close. OKC's close. OKC's close. And if you watched Oklahoma City last night, man, they had pop in their game where you could kind of tell they're looking to Luke out of one eye and reading the Wolves headlines out of the other, metaphorically speaking, because these two teams are on a collision course, and if and or when they meet, it's going to be phenomenal.
Elsewhere in the NBA, the Celtics blew out the Cavs in Game 1. You mentioned, and it was lopsided in OKC last night as well. Dallas now down 0-1 to the Thunder. Tonight, Pacers and Knicks Game 2. I don't know if you watched it. I saw it just before tip-off of the Wolves game. That moving screen controversy at the end. And I've seen a lot of people. It was actually a good comparison. If you remember the UConn-Iowa moving screen where biggest moment of the game, you can't make that call in the moment.
The ladies.
Correct. The UConn in the ladies tournament.
Yeah.
That was kind of a similar vibe where it's clutch moment of the game.
Yep.
You can't make that call in the moment. It was the correct call, though.
Yeah, I thought it was too, and I didn't. I'm not one to get on social media and argue, but I saw so much of you got to be kidding. Now, there was something involving Neesmith that I saw that was freaking ridiculous during the game, and I don't know if it went to New York and they're like correct or incorrect call, but with the Miles Turner thing, man, he was moving ever so slightly to the right.
Yep.
DiVincenzo overly emphasized it.
Oh, sure,
but that's what you're supposed to do.
There's a little gamesmanship in the moment,
but he got hit and he got smacked. He got smacked pretty good by that pick, but like I brought up an hour and change ago with Dane Moore. It's Tyrese Halliburton, man. He shot 6 times in the game against the Knicks.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it all now because I'm so bit by the Hal. And it's like he's a pass first guy, but he's a legitimate offensive threat. And I didn't know he had a back. So then I'm listening to NBA radio yesterday, and they're playing back some clips, some clear cut exterior clips, and one of them was Rick Carlisle, and Rick's like, the coach, he's like, I got to do a better job to get him shots. And you could just tell, because we have heard so many press conferences involving coaches covering things up. I'm like, he's covering up for Tyrese for something here by putting it on himself.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Tyrese going through a lot, man, with his back. And I'm like, okay, there's the answer. Is Tyrese can't move. He's doing the very best he can, likewise for the training staff. But Tyrese Halliburton is the bomb.
He's awesome. Your
guy, TJ McConnell, is now asked to score 16 to 24, which is antithetical to the best way to play him. But this Tibbs with this Knicks team, man, and their on-ball defense and no bench, holy cow, is he doing good work.
It's weird. Halliburton started out the Bucks series with just 7 shots in Game 1.
Wow.
Then 10 in Game 2. Then 22, 16, 14, 16. So it's almost like he was getting ramped up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the case. But
yeah, that might be the case because there's time off between series. And, it's so therefore you start slowly, but then that sucker loosens up and, the training staff's able to work with it. And then because Tyrese doesn't need to be shooting 22 times a game, but somewhere around there,
Yeah, but you mentioned Neesmith. I mean, Nembhard. I mean, I guess Siakam, is that their second guy?
Yeah.
I mean, Miles Turner provides offense, but in Game 1, he had 2 rebounds, Miles Turner. So they're using him more offense, more shooting.
Well, I think that's going to change beginning tonight because I think Mitchell Robinson is out. Something happened with Mitchell Robinson, I heard.
Oh, really?
Or at least read online. I think I read it that way. So now Hartenstein Stein, he,
Oh, yeah, he gone. Stress injury to his left ankle.
Oh, wow.
6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, he's done.
He's done for the season.
They are throwing bodies at Miles Turner. So just think Wolves and Jokic, but differently because Miles doesn't pass. They're throwing bodies at him with Robinson and Hartenstein Stein, and it's very difficult for Miles. Miles in the previous series was killing it. I mean, absolutely, game after game was phenomenal. But it's revelatory to me in that I don't watch college basketball, so I didn't realize how good Dante DiVincenzo was at UConn. Okay, now Jalen Brunson, I remembered him and some of these players.
Villanova,
thank you. Villanova, all right, 3-2. But DiVincenzo, for these Knicks, holy cow, is he a good player? I mean, what a cold-blooded scorer he is.
Well, I think that's got to be the fit, though, because he's doing stuff with the Knicks that he had not yet done in his NBA career.
Yep.
So, it's kind of, like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right? Hasn't done this in his career. Now it's
good comp.
And so the value you're getting from that guy, Brunson's the bomb.
Good comp.
Siakam versus Anunoby and the leftovers from Toronto.
No, OG Anunoby, yeah. Seriously, that's not a leftover right there. I mean, when he was hurt, they missed him. And OG Anunoby is maybe the best it's like when people are like, Anthony Edwards is the best two-way guard in the NBA.
Yeah.
All right, now Ant's defense has been awesome, but with OG Anunoby, it's been his career, okay? And OG Anunoby or Derek White consistently have played on-ball defense where Anthony has not. Okay, it's of late to a certain extent. Now, White and Anunoby can't roll with Ant offensively, and it's not even close. But these Knicks, man, I mean, it would be unbelievable if the Wolves made the NBA Finals and faced Tom Thibodeau. Jeez, holy cow with that.
It would be amazing. Do you think, if you're a Raptors fan a year ago, that you were going to be watching your team, OG Anunoby to the Knicks, Siakam to the Pacers, Van Vliet, I think, is now in Houston, but you got Pirtle.
Finch.
You got Pirtle.
Finch is in Minnesota. I never pondered a game-worn Svimaholic for my son Derek at Christmas. That's news du Nord to football with YA. Young Alec Lewis from The Athletic is next on KFAN.